don't know if anybody is out there, but this is going to be my first Facebook Live. The way I have the camera set up, I'm not going to be able to see any of your comments. If this goes well, then I hopefully will buy some equipment that I can switch back and forth and be able to see the comments. But I decided that since we are in a unprecedented time in our history where we're not able to get together. I miss all of my customers, and I wanted to be able to share the new catalog and get you guys some peeks at some of the things that I have been doing. So hopefully you all are with me, and I will start in a couple of minutes. I'm just waiting to make sure that it's 7 o'clock, and I'm going to do a card today. I wanted to show you the catalog, and I also wanted to put up all of the supplies that I'm going to be using today. So this is our new catalog, in case you haven't seen it. For those of you, I've dropped off many, and if you still haven't gotten one, please leave a comment below, and I will get you one in the next couple of days. I'll either mail them out, or I'll drop them off, or you can pick them up at my house. So just let me know if you still haven't received one and would like one. It's called Inspire, Create, and Share. And it is, you'll notice, a little bit smaller than normal. We're going to be revamping the catalogs so that the main catalog's a little smaller, and the mini catalogs are going to be a little bit, they're going to stay for 6 months, and they're going to be a little bit more meaty. So you'll get a lot more choices throughout the year and an influx of new stamps. So today we are going to be using a stamp on page 51, and here is the layout. It's a really cool stamp called Blossoms in Bloom. It's available in a bundle, and a bundle creates an opportunity for you to buy both the dies and the stamp set together. If you have a die cutting machine, then you save 10%. If you don't have a die cutting machine, we finally have, let me see if I can turn to it really quick. We have our new Stampin' Up die cutting machines. Those are on page 170. They will be available soon. Because of COVID, they have been slightly delayed, but we will be able to start ordering them here soon. They're in 2 sizes, and the really cool thing is that it folds up. So you'll see here at the top of the page, there's a mini and a regular size, and they're still hand crank, but they take up a lot less space because the sides fold in. So that's a really cool feature. I'm looking forward to getting the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine so that you can see it real soon. All right, so we're going to get started. And I wanted to put out a copy right here of the supplies that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the Stampin' Spritzers. They're on page 146 if you have the new catalog. And I do something that I've seen a lot of demonstrators do. They put alcohol in it, and I put the Champagne Mist shimmer paint, which is also on page 146. I put a little dollop inside here, so you would unscrew that, shake this up, pour a little daub in there. I already have it in there, and you'll notice once I put this back on that if you don't use it for a while, you actually get sediment in the bottom. So you want to make sure that you shake this really well before you use it. And I don't know, you probably can see that. It has a really, really nice shimmer, and it creates this really shimmery paper. So you can actually create your own shimmer cardstock. It's one of my favorite things to do. So we're going to be using that in a little bit. I'm going to be using the Fluid 100 watercolor paper, and that's on page 153. The Blossoms in Bloom bundle that I showed you is on page 51. And the really cool thing about this, I'm only going to be using one of the dies out of here, but you will see on the internet some really cool cards using both dies, and you'll see that there's a real detailed outline die, and then there is a die that is for the inside. So when you see those two-tone cards, or I saw a card yesterday that was done with the outline in white and this in vellum. It was gorgeous. So you could use this background I'm creating now and do both. Do this in vellum, this in white, and it would be stunning. I'm not going to do that today, but I am going to use that outside piece. So I'm going to be using the water painters to create a watercolor background. We have you'll notice it's not aqua painter. We have our own water painters. They are $12 for a set of 3. They come in fine, medium, and large flat brush tip. They're on page 146. And then I'm going to be using some metallic pearls on page 156 in the accessories section. Some foam adhesive strips on page 162. My heat tool to dry it, and I've made a sample so that I can just go on with it. I'm not going to dry using this setup because it'll be loud, and you don't need to see that. So I will dry the watercolor paper so that it doesn't curl, and I can use it more quickly. The stamping sponges I have cut up. They come a set of 3. They're on page 146, and I take the rounds and I cut them into little triangles, and I'm going to use my silicone craft mat and my liquid Tombow glue to adhere the die, since it's so delicate. So the silicone craft mat's one of my favorite things. It's $6 on page 162, and it is like a must in my craft room. I use it for a ton of different things. If you come to my classes, you know that we used it for a mirror image card. There's lots of really fun things that we can do with that, and I'll show you in subsequent videos. So that is the stamping supplies list. And we are going to be using the Happy Birthday from the Blossoms in Bloom. I'm not going to be using actually any of the stamps other than just the sentiment for this and the dies. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of the Watercolor 100 paper, and I am going to take some I have very little water in here. I forgot to put more water from last night when I was playing. Okay, so we're going to wet the page, and I think I'm going to have to go get water. You're going to have to excuse me for a second. I'm so sorry. All right, well, you can laugh because there had to be one snafu, right? It was going too well. All right, so I have water. The new ones are just like the aqua painters. I don't have the new ones yet, so you'll notice this is my old aqua painter, but it has a compartment. You put the water in, it's refillable, which is very cool. This is another one of my favorite tools. So I am going to generously wet this paper, And then I'm going to be using Bermuda Bay, Coastal Cabana, and Gorgeous Grape. And so I'm going to start with the Bermuda Bay, and I am going to continue to squeeze water, and I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana and the more water you put, when the colors come together, they're going to change. So the purple and the Coastal Cabana is going to kind of come together in more of a blue tones. All right, so I would normally dry this at this point, and I am going to set this aside and to use for another project. And I'm going to bring in the one that I did last night, which is already dry. And here I'm going to take my Stampin' Spritzer, and I'm going to close my pads so that I don't get all this really fine mist on them. All right. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it is so cool. It creates this shimmer that is really, really neat. Okay, so I have already cut out the outline from the many layered blossoms die, and I am going to take my silicone craft sheet and some Tombow multi liquid glue, and I am going to spread a little on this. The cool part about silicone is that once this dries, you'll be able to just scrape it off with your finger. So this is a nice way to go ahead and get glue all over your die without getting it globby. And the nice part about the Tombow is it does stay wet for a little while. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. I will clean it in a little bit off camera, and I am going to put this together. I don't know if you can see that sparkle, but I'm not done yet. I love sparkle, so I'm going to do something, and I'm going to take an acrylic block. I'm actually going to take one of the thin ones that doesn't have the hand grips or the finger grips. This is from our paper pumpkin set. We don't give the bigger ones that have the finger grips here, and I find this perfect almost as a kind of a palette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shimmer paint and a paintbrush, and I'm going to put a bunch on the edge, and I'm going to flick it onto the card. That will give me a little bit more control and some bigger flicks of paint. This is a nice way to create almost a starry sky too. All right. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and cut this so that it fits on a card. And I'm going to take a gorgeous grape background. And I'm going to cut this piece off. And I'm going to put the happy birthday down here. So give me one sec. I'm going to go off camera and I am going to cut a piece off. So I'm going to cut it at 5 1/4. And it is pretty thick, so you want to make sure that you cut it a couple of times on your paper trimmer. There you go. So that you can go ahead and cut it off. I'm going to ink up my happy birthday stamp. And since this is watercolor paper, you want to press really hard. In fact, I probably should have used I can't think of the name of it. What's it called? Oh, well, let's look it up for you. My Stamparatus. There you go. It's on page 164. And it's a good application for this. This happened to come out perfect because there's not a lot of kind of wave and grain in the Fluid 100. I really like this watercolor paper. It does very well with a lot of water, but it also is smooth enough to take a stamped image. So if you have some anxiety about stamping on watercolor paper, though, if you use the Stamparatus, you can stamp again and again and have it be just fine. So I'm going to actually tear this to create some white space. I didn't do that last time, but I like that look. And then I'm going to take some foam adhesive strips and I'm going to cut them the length of the paper. And I'm going to take and peel off 2 of these strips and put it on the back. And then I'm going to take our tear and tape because this is going to be a page that is, the paper is very thick. I'm going to cut off that other edge. So I have this really cool strip, which I will use on another card. So my husband laughs, I never throw anything away. And I'm going to flip this over. Since it is such a heavy cardstock, we want something really thick. And the tear and tape is a great application for this. We also have brand new, they actually discontinued our snail adhesive. For those of you who do have snail cartridges, I do have a ton of refills left, so you can buy them from me while supplies last. But we do have on page, it's going to be probably, there you go, on 162. Here are our new Stampin' Seal and Stampin' Seal Plus. The Stampin' Seal is an instant bond permanent adhesive. It holds cardstock and ribbon. It's acid free. This one is an instant bond permanent adhesive as well, but the strong seal adheres 3D projects and heavier layers securely. So the Stampin' Seal Plus would be something that you could use on the watercolor paper as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my, I call it a picky tool, and lifts up those pieces of paper really well. And I'm going to put that right here. And then I'm going to take my metallic pearls. Put a few of them down. And there you go. There's my card and the shimmer background, watercolor background. I hope that you enjoyed it. Please leave comments. Let me know how I did on my first Facebook Live. And also, I will be in touch with everybody that does comment. Let me know if you need a catalog. I would be happy to get you one. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. I miss you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.